It has come to my attention that people are once again conflating us MGTOWs with incels and thereby conflating our actions with those of them, including some of the criminal acts their kind and their community did. I'm here to tell one thing: we MGTOWs, those of us who choose to go our own way and choose to be single, are not the incels, and we are not responsible for their actions, crimes, or misdeeds they commit, and this is why. To give an introduction, we MGTOWs are men who follow the MGTOW philosophy. That is, men going their own way. That is, we believe that going our own way is the best way to lead life, and we believe that being single is better than being married, or being in a long-term relationship, or cohabitating, or anything similar. We also don't feel the need to date or think it's a smart idea. Incels, on the other hand, are individuals, mostly men, who are involuntarily celibate. That is, they are celibate but did not choose to be celibate. They typically want to date or to have romantic relationships or get laid, but they are rejected and thus can't. And they think it's somehow unfair they got rejected and it's thus bad. Whereas we MGTOWs think that dating or trying to get into a relationship is stupid and ridiculous. When you account for these differences, you get two entirely different communities with separate values and beliefs. Our community being the community that values freedom, independence, self-reliance, and self-actualization, with anti-marriage and anti-relationship sentiment that is justified and necessary, while their community is the community that is about wanting to get laid and wanting to be desired, but not succeeding, and is also about entitlement, to the point of having effectively lied to the world about how their ideology and political positions and grievances are somehow red pill. If you asked me what the polar opposite to the MGTOW community was, I would tell you it's the incel community, and I would be right. Now, one thing that is the natural consequence of there being two separate communities is that one community is not responsible for the misdeeds, crimes, or any other actions committed by members of the other. That is, we are not responsible for the actions those in the incel community take, which from my understanding are often bad on their part, and vice versa, as in they are not responsible for anything we do. One would think this is obvious, but apparently it's not, as I have to remind everyone of this fact, and the mainstream media does not help in this regard, to say the least, leading to people thinking we're responsible for actions and crimes that people like Elliot Rodger or Alec Manassian committed, which we are not, because we are not one of them, nor are our communities the same, nor do we share the same values. So let's discuss who these two individuals are, and what they did, in order to prove my point that we are not like them. These two individuals were incels. That means they are involuntarily celibate, or were involuntarily celibate, which means they wanted to be with women as they were straight, wanted relationships with them but were rejected, and in their cases did what they did as a result. Elliot Rodger in particular is a notable case, considering the insane and downright stupid lengths he went to in order to try to be with women, even going so far as to be deluded enough to buy lottery tickets for the Mega Millions jackpot in June 2012 and expect to win, ignoring the fact that lottery odds are almost always against you and that the house always wins. Elliot Rodger also felt entitled to the attention of women and thus behaved badly when he didn't get it, which all culminated in the 2014 Isla Vista killings, in which he killed 7 people in total and injured 14, including himself. To shift to Alec Manassian, he was also an incel, who identified as an incel and shared the same mindset and entitlement for female attention as Elliot Rodger. He shared so much of his mindset with Elliot Rodger that he and Elliot Rodger were friends before Elliot Rodger committed the evil massacre at Isla Vista in 2014. Much of his own reasoning for his attack was the same as Elliot Rodger's, with him also wanting relationships and wanting to get into one, and failing by being rejected, although also adding to his other failures in his own personal life, such as not being able to join the Canadian Army, even requesting to be discharged, and also not being able to meaningfully socialize and failing to make friends. though technically succeeding in finishing university. The proof that he was an incel can be seen in what he said in his Facebook post before his attack in Toronto happened in 2018. He said that the quote-unquote incel revolution has already begun, and I quote, "We will overthrow all the Chads and Stacys," as well as praising Elliot Rodger. Now, what do we see in these two major cases, keeping in mind they are not the only cases? We see the same themes of incel ideology, incel values, and incel entitlement over sex and getting laid, and their reaction to not having it in common here. Both cases are cases of incel men doing terrible acts as a result of their ideological viewpoints and as a response to not getting what they think they deserve to get. Such a mindset is, however, very different from a MGTOW, as we see wanting to get any of the things incels so desperately crave for as incredibly stupid and short-sighted. We do not share the same entitlement and desire for getting laid, above all else that incels do, and we do not believe that wanting it so much, instead of being normal, is a good thing. Many of the forums these two individuals, and typically all other incels, visit and call home are alien to the average MGTOW, including myself. We do not believe in things like maxing or trying to find dating strategies or trying to make ourselves taller to fulfill some vague standard which is stupid anyways. We also do not believe in things like the black pill, as the black pill is a void meant to make you think there is no hope and everything is lost, which only appeals to the most lazy and those without work ethic, who wish to not change or refuse to do what is right, what is good, and what is necessary. Much of the confusion that arises and thus results in these two communities, the MGTOW community and the incel one, being conflated and treated as the same thing, is due to us sometimes discussing same or similar concepts. The concepts being female nature, hypergamy, the 80-20 rule, and also about the differences between Chad and the average Joe, and other related concepts. However, the reasons for discussing these concepts that we have is far different from the ones incels have. The point of learning these concepts is to try to understand who women are as a people, why they act the way they do, and ultimately why dating, relationships, and marriage are a ridiculous proposition in modern society and why you should be single. There is a benefit to learning these concepts, but their effects on the average MGTOW and on myself are far more distant than they are for incels. Still, even so, our core values, core viewpoints, core principles and culture, and our ways of life, and what we choose to believe in or not believe in, are very different from the incels. We do not share the values they have, and we do not believe in the same things Elliot Rodger or Alec Manassian did. And we're not responsible for their actions or thoughts that led to said actions. Our policy towards the incels was to try to get them to see the light of MGTOW and to accept MGTOW values and living life as normal and productive single men. But they have refused. I don't know why they're so attached to the idea of getting laid, and most likely will never know, and neither will everyone else inside of MGTOW or outside of it, but they have made their choice, and they have made that choice clear. Their choice is to reject MGTOW and continue on their backwards way of making their community and value system be based on wanting to get laid, but not being able to due to rejection, and thus thinking that is somehow unfair. They have chosen to keep endlessly complaining online about being unwanted or rejected, and not being able to date or be desired, instead of doing the right thing of being a MGTOW and avoiding the plantation. As a result of their choice, their community and their kind is separate from our kind, and we share no ties, no culture, no values, and no beliefs with them. We remained firm in our community being based off of wanting to be single and avoiding the traps of the plantation, of marriage, relationships, dating, divorce, and family courts, and even of false accusations and other stuff like it. Throughout the entire history of MGTOW, from 2001 to today, we have had the same exact message, that being it's better to be single and self-actualized than it is to try to be in relationships, and that being in relationships is not worth it. We have never wavered from this, or faltered, and we remained steadfast in our opinions and messaging. As such, we have never endorsed the actions of incels, or of Elliot Rodger and Alec Manassian, as we never had the beliefs they had and never agreed with them. The kind of manosphere we wanted and still want is one with MGTOW and its values at the forefront, and with men's rights as one of its core beliefs and aims. We did not want anything the incels have done or supported throughout their entire existence, nor had any part in that. We also had no part in actions taken by Elliot Rodger and the like, and we did not celebrate it. They did, and some of them still do. We also never wanted any of the things they did, nor encouraged or supported it. They supported those who did wrong. We were not the ones who lied to the entire world about how wanting to get laid, being rejected and thinking it's unfair is somehow red pill, or based. They did. So we have absolutely no responsibility for anything their community or individuals within it did and still do. And we are fucking tired of those trying to conflate us or trying to imply that we somehow encouraged these things or played a role, or how Elliot Rodger's actions was somehow a MGTOW hate crime or whatever these people say, when it wasn't. I do not like it when I hear our detractors mislead others by presenting the actions of incels as those of us MGTOWs, and I am opposed to any attempt to tie us into the actions of those too stupid to realize there is a life beyond wanting to get laid and not being able to due to rejection. To end this off, our community, that being the MGTOW community, and their community, that being the incel community, are not the same, don't share the same values, beliefs, and principles, and never will be the same. We have always been different, as we have always focused on different issues and had different culture, values, and principles. We are also not responsible for the actions of incels we already dislike, and we never will be. It is not our fault they did something, and it never will be, and we should not be attacked or slandered by others as a result. We MGTOWs have a greater mission, and a greater purpose in this world, and as such we should make that clear. We have an original document written in 2001, while they probably do not have a document or any kind of white paper that is credible or serious. We are only responsible for our own actions and for making sure that we stick to our higher purpose in this world. And in my view, it's time for people to realize that us MGTOWs are different from the incels, and it's also time for the incels to learn some personal responsibility in regards to their actions and lifestyle choices. With that being said, this has been Igor MGTOW and Video Games. Like and subscribe and click the bell notifications if you have enjoyed the video on YouTube. And follow me on odyssey.com, MGTOW.tv, Twitter and Rumble, and bye bye. Thanks for watching.